Good evening, everyone. I will get started in about 10 seconds. Thank you all very, very much for joining me this evening for the virtual Louisville Town Hall on the 31st of March. I'm Mayor Ashley Stolzman, and these town halls are much more enjoyable in person when I can see everyone and see your faces, and we always get a lot of good participation and questions and interaction. So I very much look forward to getting back to that. And so just remember that in these virtual town halls, you can raise your virtual hand by clicking the raise hand button at the bottom of the screen to ask questions and have conversation. And really the point of a town hall is for me to get feedback from everyone. And in this forum, it's a little bit awkward. Sometimes people feel uncomfortable giving feedback this way. So at the end of the presentation, you'll see my email, and of course my email and phone number are posted on the city website. And so if you're not comfortable in this forum raising an issue or discussing something, please do reach out in any case, because I'd love to hear from you. So with that, I have just a few slides to get our thinking going and just to update you on a few topics, and then I'd love to hear what you all have for me this evening. So just to remind everybody, even though we're virtual, I want to introduce you to your city council members if you haven't met them before. So they're here on the screen in alphabetical order by last name. So Councilmember Brown, Dickinson, Fahey, Lay, Lipton, and Mayor Pro Tem Maloney. There at the end are your council members. All of their phone numbers and emails are posted online too, so you can get in contact with any of us. So this has just been a very hard year, and I want to just take the first part of the presentation in a moment to thank you all for taking care of one another and to plead with everyone to continue to do so. We are seeing some very alarming numbers from county health on mental health issues at the beginning of the year. We have a 40% increase in suicide attempts in our county right now. That's a really alarming number. People are just stretched very thin. And so try to think of things that you can do for your own mental health and support yourself. Remember to get sleep and to do the things that make you happy. And we do have a lot of resources available for people. So on the top of the screen there, you'll see a phone number for mental health partners, and you can call them anytime. They work for the city and for the county. And there are a number of other numbers listed there that people can call to get help. And just in the line of thinking about taking care of ourselves and thinking about taking care of our neighbors, the next set of slides is really focused on some city services that we have available that you might not always think about in the context of your mental health and taking care of your soul and your mind, but they are things that we really do have to make us better as a community. So please do help yourself and one another. And if anybody is feeling that they need help, you can always call me on my cell phone, and I will help get the right resources over to you as well. So the first thing that can really help with your mental health, at least for me, in my opinion, is our library services. So our library is open again. If you are not comfortable going in, we still are doing the curbside pickup as well. So you can do the grab and go where you go in and get your materials, or curbside pickup, whatever you're most comfortable with. And there's a new mobile checkout feature that's available at the library. So the new mobile checkout is there. You download an app, it's called Cloud Library, and you can check books out right from the stacks with your phone without taking them down to the computer or waiting in line or anything like that. You can also do renewals from that mobile checkout and make checklists and things like that for yourself. So that should make it even more touchless, less interaction if you'd like that. And there's a really fun thing the librarians have going for Library Month, and it's a special edition first library card for babies. So if anybody knows anybody with a little one or a young child, they can get their first library card, and it's a special promotional card, and then they can be lifelong readers and learners. So it's really great. And in Louisville, we're very proud of our high circulation rate for a city of our size. We have some of the highest circulation in the whole state. And so that just means we have a lot of really great readers here in town. Next, there are some excellent virtual things going on at our History Museum, and in May, on the 8th and the 22nd, there will be an in-person activity outdoor. So it's a project that the Louisville History Museum has come up with called Lenses on Louisville. And historians and photographers can come and take pictures, help us to document what Louisville looks like right now in some different areas. And so the museum staff will help facilitate what things we need pictures of around town. And we just have some amazing photographers. We always get great artwork for the life in Louisville every single year. So I'm really excited to see what everyone can do taking pictures there. If you're not up for those events, I would encourage you to go to the History Museum online. They have oral histories where residents have interviewed other residents and they tell accounts of history, how they saw it through their own eyes. And there also are some really good programs on equity, diversity, and inclusion that the museum has put together on some of the history of Louisville that people don't always like to talk about, some of the injustices that have happened over time. And different residents have been interviewed for their accounts on how that happened, how that transpired, how they felt that it impacted them. So again, I'd encourage everyone to look on the museum website to see those other programs that are made available through video. So physical health goes right along with protecting your mental health, and the Rec Center has some really great programs for exercising, both virtual and in person. So you can use your computer and do virtual classes that way without going in, or the Rec Center is open. And starting today at noon, the catalog for the spring was available. So you could start registering for those spring programs. We, of course, are monitoring everything. If we find that COVID variants or things change, things could continue to change. But as of right now, we're really optimistic about being able to be open with people wearing their face coverings, and we have a really good vaccination rate. So we're continuing to get good uptake on that. So we're optimistic, but monitoring everything really carefully. And so just always check the websites of the various city facilities before you go, just to make sure you know what's expected from hours and face coverings and things like that. I also wanted to let you know, at the golf course, residents, there are special Louisville resident rates at the golf course. And so if you have never tried golfing, a good thing to try, or a fun thing to try, is the driving range. And a Louisville resident can get $150 worth of balls at the driving range for only $100. So that's something that could be a fun outdoor activity for you to try. There are also volunteer activities going on this year. So for Earth Day, there's a cleanup in Community Park. Starting at Community Park, it really goes around the open space and other areas as well. There's also regular weed pulling events. There's a poo crew that helps out in the dog parks. So you can find on the city website a number of volunteer activities that you can participate in throughout the year. There also, for Earth Day, is a compost workshop, and it's offered at several different times virtually. And there will be a movie screening for Earth Day as well, so you can check that out if you're interested. So this is probably of a lot of interest, and I see a lot of very familiar, happy faces on the call. So hopefully a lot of you have already been vaccinated or have a plan on when you'll be vaccinated. But on Friday, everyone over 16 will be eligible to sign up for their COVID vaccination. Now, when they open up a new category, so many more people start signing up that it can feel really frustrating. And so I just would encourage everyone to be patient and persistent. Being patient doesn't mean just blowing it off and not doing it, because we really do need everybody to get vaccinated that can get vaccinated. And so you need to be persistent. And so some people have found more luck on Broomfield County's health website. Some people have found good luck on the King Soopers websites. Each person has a little bit different preference on how they are able to find it, and it can be pretty frustrating. So if you're in a situation where you feel like you've tried and you can't do it, I would just encourage you to call Katie Tofty at the Rec Center, 303-335-4919, and she can help get your vaccine scheduled. So we want to make sure everybody has the resources they need to be able to get a plan to be vaccinated. And we're doing really good as a community. It's been a slow, long process, but we're doing really good, and seeing the numbers, and especially how many people over 70 in our community are vaccinated, brings a lot of optimism and hope. Oh, and sorry, I forgot to mention, up here in the right-hand corner, I've been showing you this picture of my little nieces since last April with their face masks on. And so we are just asking people to continue to wear their face coverings when they're inside crowded places. We really want to continue wearing those face coverings to make sure we can cross the finish line with all of the variants and other things we're coming across. So keep up the great work, Louisville, with the face masks. I get a lot of phone calls and emails about airport noise, so I wanted to include a slide in here so folks would know what's going on. So that over the past couple of years, we've been working to try to make progress on rerouting the flights. And you can see in this map in the middle of the screen, a Louisville resident actually made this for us. And so thank you so much. Like, our residents are amazing. And the green box, of course, is Louisville. And down here, the purple box is Arvada. And the kind of teal colored box is Westminster. And what you can see is that the airport is routing the large majority of flights over Louisville. The darker the color, each one of those dark lines is a flight. And so if you see lots of darkness, it's lots of flights. And this route over here on the west side is sort of like what we consider a preferred route. And so you can see that we have made a little progress. Some of the pilots have started flying our preferred route that avoids Louisville before it turns north. But still, even though we've made this little bit of progress, we have so much more work to do. And the process to get that officially done is called a roundtable. The FAA requires that cities all work together around an airport to come up with changes in flight patterns and monitoring of noise sensitive areas and things like that. It's a much slower process than any of us would like, and it's created a lot of community frustration, particularly because of how much time we spend outside, but even inside, it's really bothering a lot of residents. So we'll continue to work on this issue through the roundtable to try to get some relief. But as I said, it's a very slow and deliberate process, and we're just working through what we have to go through to make the change there. The good news is the roundtable, it has all the communities around the airport: Broomfield, Boulder County, Jefferson County, Arvada, Westminster, and others. And they all elected leadership. And Mark Lasis, the trustee from Superior, was elected to be the chair, and our very own council member, Jeff Lipton, was elected to be the vice chair. So that's very good to have the chair and the vice chair from our area so that they can understand the extent of the problem. So this is a fun map, and I'm excited to show this to you this evening. So the red lines represent the streets that are planned to be resurfaced this year. The staff is still working on exactly which water lines will be replaced. They try to optimize everything to keep our rates as low and cost effective as possible, but ensure that we replace the lines in a timely fashion so that there aren't breaks and things like that. So the water lines will be added. And this map, of course, is on the city website, and anyone can always look at it. And the public works staff keep it up to date. But right now, what you'll see are the streets that'll be resurfaced in the red. The stars on the map are the quiet zones, and quiet zones are, or also known as safety crossings, are some changes in the configuration where the streets cross the railroad, and putting in some different curb configurations and some equipment in the track will enable us to have zones where the trains no longer blow their horn. And this has been a project in the works for a long, long time. Councils have been working on this for a long time. And we actually have all of our contracts signed with the railroad now, and they should be breaking ground any day. I was really hoping to get a picture of them breaking ground to put in this presentation for you. But with the weather and everything, there was a little bit of a delay. So I don't have that picture yet, but stay tuned for next time. I can't wait to put that picture up for everybody to see. So that's what the stars are. The little heart over here is a pedestrian crossing improvement. You all probably will remember there was a student crossing the street there on South Boulder Road, and they were struck by a car. They were on their bicycle, and really fortunately not injured, like no broken bones or anything, but it was certainly really traumatizing for that family and whole neighborhood. And so we are making an improvement to that pedestrian crossing on South Boulder Road, and it will be a hawk signal, which is what folks are familiar with over by the North End neighborhood on South Boulder Road, where when you push the signal, it will actually flash red, so cars have to stop. It's a step above just a yellow flasher. It's actually a hawk signal. So that'll be coming this year, along with other pedestrian improvements along the South Boulder Road corridor. So you'll see safety improvements to make it so that people see very clearly that they need to yield to pedestrians that are crossing the street. And that's a big issue in that area because we have students that walk to the middle school and they live on both sides of the street here on South Boulder Road. So we just want to ensure that the students and everyone can get safely across the street. The smiley faces on here are very joyful. So these are 3 places this year that you'll see new public art. So there are some fantastic artists in the community that have submitted proposals to our Louisville Cultural Council, and they were accepted, and they are putting in some wonderful mosaic tiles in the underpass up by Harper Lake. There'll be some metal work underneath the railroad underpass in downtown, and another sculpture is being added to the sculpture park in Community Park. So those will all be things to check out throughout the year. And the last one I want to point out to you is over here on 104th, there's a trail being added, and that's a really great connection because right now, if you walk or bicycle out the Coal Creek Trail, you can get out to the Rock Creek Trail system and stay on the trail the whole time, and you can loop back through to this Carolyn Holmberg Preserve. But when you get back to here, then you kind of have a crummy bike ride home the rest of the way, and this path will really change that. So having this trail connection here will really make a very pleasant loop back to town and a lot of safety improvements for folks that are biking, or if you're a really avid walker, walking that distance as well. So look for that later this year as well. And I've told you about this a few times, but I just really want everyone to know that this is available to them. So right on the front page of the city webpage, there are buttons, and one of the buttons says report a problem, and that'll take you to the city problem reporter. And any problem that you see, a cracked sidewalk, a broken window, some kind of damaged facility, something that just seems odd, like if you're in a park and you see a sprinkler leaking or something like that, the city problem reporter is a great way to report that because you can click on the map and click right where the problem is that you saw and type up a description of it. And if you put your email in, then staff will get back to you about the state of the problem and what the plan is on how to address it. So please do use this problem reporter if you see problems out there. And that helps us get them addressed faster if we know about the problems for sure. And just, you all know this, but this is not for emergencies. If you have an emergency, please do call 911. And that is all I have for you this evening. And I would love to hear from you any questions that you all have or concerns or comments. And like I said at the beginning, I know this forum is not necessarily everyone's favorite way to interact. And so my email is here on the screen and my phone number is posted on the city website. So you can also email or call me if that's a better way. And if you'd like to talk now, you're absolutely welcome to. And the raise hand feature should be found at the bottom of your screen. And if you dialed in by phone, you can dial *9 to raise your hand. I'm not seeing any hands shoot up. Oh, I have one. That's fantastic. Judy Knapp. And we're just getting you unmuted here. You might be muted on your end. Or Meredith, is there a problem on our end? Oh, there you go.
Good now, yeah.
I was wondering, have you, the focus group for ADI, have you chosen that group?
It has not been chosen yet. So the city council appointed council member Brown and council member Lay to review the application. So there were about 60 folks who submitted applications, and they are going to try. It's such a hard task in Louisville because when you read applications for these boards and commissions, everybody is amazing. And so they're going to try to read the responses and come up with the best group of people. So like which different people fit together and get a smaller group than 60 down and make a recommendation to council at that point. So they're working through that. And I'm not 100% sure where they are in the process, but I know it's not back to us yet.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Judy. Next question is from Councilmember Fahey. Hi, Debbie.
Good evening, Mayor. How are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty darn good. Like I said at the beginning, I would much rather do this where I could see everybody's faces, but this will
totally
have to do
agree.
for now.
I have kind of a not question for you, I guess, directly, but I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how our police department is doing in regards to the shooting at King Soopers. I know that they responded to the call, and so I just wonder if there's anything that we can do to support them or help them in any way.
Yeah, thanks, Councilmember Fahey. That's a great question. So, you know, this was really close to home. And I actually had to go to King Soopers today to pick something up here in Louisville, and it was very emotional for me. And, you know, I wasn't even there, so I can only imagine what our officers went through. Because it was on the south end of town, our teams do support one another. So our officers in Louisville were some of the first on the scene there, and it was pretty challenging for them. And you know, to lose a coworker is pretty challenging. And we had mental health resources available to our officers, and still do have them available, and have the doctor in talking to them to make sure they have the mental health support that they need. But it's a really challenging situation for them as well. And so, you know, just like it is for the whole community. And so just being kind to one another is a really important thing to do. It is certainly a really, really challenging time for everyone. And this whole year has had a lot of opportunities for us to reflect. Like our police force really has reflected because of the national spotlight on policing and inequity and tragedies around the nation. And our spotlight has really been shown that there are some major issues in policing. And so I've been really proud of our local police force for taking it seriously and making sure that all of our procedures and policies are as where we want them to be, and something we can be proud of, something that they can be proud of. So I just think with the year we've had to have this happen, it is just very, very hard. So I would just ask everyone to look out for their own mental health, make sure they're doing everything they can to take care of themselves, and then check on your friends and neighbors as well. It's a really hard time. Would you like to add anything, Councilmember Fahey?
I think that you voiced my opinions very clearly. It's just a very difficult time. I know that we've already, because of the EDI issues that we've been discussing, have already gone over our police policies, and they are just amazing, way above average in their policing for our community. I'm just feeling really sad for the officers, for the people that were killed, for the families, for everyone. I just wanted to make sure that everyone in town knew how good our department was and that they did, in fact, respond to the shooting.
Thanks, Councilmember Fahey. Are there any other questions or comments from folks? We have another hand raised from Earl Hauserman. Hi, Earl. And maybe Betty too. We'll see.
It looks like Earl has an older version of Zoom that I'm going to make him a panelist. So
perfect.
See how that works.
Let's see if we can hear you now, Earl.
You don't see a microphone.
Well, Earl, I do not know how to address the issue. Sorry about that. Oh, I can see you. Still can't hear you. Hello. It is Earl and Betty. Hi, guys. Oh, there's a question and answer. Let's see if that works. Earl, you can type in Mark has a great point that you can type in your question in the question and answer. because we can't hear you. Sorry about that, but it is wonderful to see you. Just while Earl's typing his question, would anyone else like to raise their hand? No other questions or comments? Oh, we have one from Don Parcher. Don, why don't you go ahead while we let Earl type his question?
Hi. Those calming measures that have been installed with the curbs that stick out into the lane of traffic.
Yes, sir.
There's concern about, sir, there was concern about bike being able to go through those safely. And I'm curious about the covering. Has anything been decided about what to put on those things?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. So we've gotten a lot of feedback about those things. And so you can see some of it. These are direct quotes from my email here, where some people love it and some people hate it. And some people think it's less safe and some people think it's more safe and better. So we're taking all the feedback, and by and large, people are really happy with the idea that people will drive more safely and be aware of pedestrians and cyclists. So we have sort of a version 2.0 that will be coming out for some of the new improvements. So up on Washington, when they resurface that, we're switching the design a little bit to have just the middle of the road bump out and none of the things on the side. They are all permitted through the model traffic code. So they're all, appropriate, I guess is how I'll put it, street designs, but we want to make sure that it's what the community wants to. So we do take all that feedback and try to make sure that it's very much what Louisville has in mind. And yet the answer to your question about the middles. So originally we were hoping to have a public art project in those, and we just could not get any respondents from artists to do the mosaic work we were hoping to get in there. So they will be filled in with concrete like the other previous ones.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Great question. Let's see if I can see Earl. I don't see a question from Earl. Sorry, Earl and Betty. It's just not working this evening. You'll have to call me. That'll be fun. Sorry about that. Any other questions or comments from folks? All right. Well, thank you all. Oh, there's one more. Ken Wilson. Hi, Ken. We're working on getting you unmuted here, and
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, I was just going to ask about those green strips that we're looking at there.
Yes.
A lot of them are chipping and pulling up. Are they under any kind of warranty or?
They are under warranty. They were installed incorrectly and they'll be replaced at the cost of the person who installed them.
Oh, good news. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes, it's funny. Sometimes people don't tell us when they see things like that. And so we miss the warranty period. So that's a good reminder for that city problem reporter. It really does help us to know when there are things that didn't work correctly, because then we can get them fixed when they're still under warranty. So thanks for bringing that up, Ken. And sometimes people will say, what is this? Why are you doing this again? You just did it last year. And the answer is that it's still under warranty and there's something wrong. So we're getting it addressed. So thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. And yes, they will be replaced. Any other questions or comments? All right. It was really great to sort of see everyone. And I really look forward to, oh, there's one more, Mark Cathcart. Good, if I just take long enough, I get to hear from more people. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Ashley. Yeah, Ms. Stolzman. I'm sorry I had to step out briefly. Did you say anything about the Main Street closure for this summer? Have any decisions been made yet?
Decisions haven't been made yet. The Economic Vitality Committee has taken the issue up on a few occasions to work through a number of the issues. So, last fall, a number of issues were identified, including like fire access, just things that we didn't think of in our rush to do it last year. We were really trying to address COVID, so we didn't necessarily think of all the things we should have. And so the Vitality Committee has had several meetings to work through that. And on April 6th, it will come to the full council for a discussion. And so feedback is absolutely welcomed, and ideas and suggestions. But I do believe they've worked through a number of issues to at least put a proposal in front of council on how it could be done with a fire lane and things like that.
Oh, that would be great. I think it was a huge improvement.
Agree.
So thank you.
The packet for that comes out on Friday, so we'll all be able to see the information and what their recommendation will be, and then folks can join in just like this to the council meeting. Although at council meetings, people, just so that we'll be able to get through the whole agenda, people get 3 minutes each at council. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Fahey.
Thank you again, Mayor. I was just on the phone with one of our residents, and she was saying she couldn't log into the call, but she was listening. And she's curious about what's happening with the sign, the scorecard sign at Miners Field.
Yeah, and I got an email from a resident about that, and I don't know the answer yet. So the only reason I know about it is because of a resident email, and the question was raised, is the scoreboard coming down in Miners Field? And so I'm looking into it. I do not know the answer, but I will look into it and find out what the details are.
I did have a discussion was on a call with our Parks and Rec director, and they said that they were taking the sign down, but they didn't say what they were going to do with it. And
Excellent.
so I think it's an issue where this person would like to know if it's going to be thrown away. She would probably love to have it. Otherwise, what we could do to preserve it, to keep it there, or to preserve it in some way.
Yeah, those are fantastic questions, and I just don't know the answer yet. And so we'll have to find out from the History Museum if they have a plan for it, or if staff is taking it down to service it and put it back up. I don't know. So that's one of those mysteries we'll just have to find out about. That'll give us something interesting to talk about at the next town hall.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing. And I'll email the resident back that emailed in about it for sure, as soon as I know.
Great. I would also like to just add my thanks to you for doing these town halls. I think it's a wonderful way for residents to let you know what's on their mind.
Thanks, Councilmember Fahey. All right, well, with that, thank you all very much, and be kind to one another, and we will hopefully be back in person sometime so we can do these again. And if not, we'll continue doing them virtually until then, and see you all around town. Have a great evening.